Welcome to the Emerald City, also known as Seattle. Today we're going to explore the hustle and bustle of Seattle, right smack dab in the downtown. Today is a very good day to explore the downtown area and the historic district, which is a little bit further down at Pioneer Square, because it's Friday. And Friday you get we're still working at their offices here in downtown. So we're going to see a little bit more of a lively Seattle here. We're starting right by the Pike Place Market, and then we're going to work our way throughout the downtown, wander around with no particular agenda, immerse ourselves in beautiful Seattle. I'm Ariel, this is Urbanist. Let me know where you're watching from. So here we're starting to see the downtown high-rise. And look at this. This blows me away. I mean, this, ladies and gentlemen, is Seattle right here, I think, in a nutshell. Seeing this beautiful market, but right behind it, oh my God, such gorgeous views. It's so picturesque. Look at that. Gwen says, "You not having an agenda?" What? Yes, it's shocking, isn't it? No agenda. Oh my God, I just can't get enough of this. Especially with all the clouds and everything. Wow. And that's a noisy truck. So welcome everyone. Rocky says we're nearby the boathouses. Let me know, where are the boathouses in Seattle that was featured in Sleepless in Seattle? Do let me know. We're walking through the Pike Place Market today, again, but we're not going to linger here too long. We're just going to pass through here and find what is interesting to do in Seattle, bump into some coffee, bump into maybe some historical buildings, which we're already seeing right in front of us. Marcy says all the houseboats are in Lake Union. Okay, thank you so much for letting me know. Ethan says, I really don't like Seattle, Washington because I heard it rains a lot. Well, for me, it's been always sunny in Seattle. Literally, I've been here a week and a half and has been sunny every single day. I'm not sure if this is normal. It's also very cold. I'm not sure if that's normal also. The street has some serious pitch to it. It has a very steep slope, yeah. And see, don't be careful if you rent yourself a scooter, which is easy to do all around the city. Sometimes you might go a little bit too fast down these streets. Kay says, is it still cold? It's a bit warmer today. It's about 51, 52 degrees Fahrenheit. So here's the famous Chinese bakery right over here. Wendy says you can take the fast ferry to Alki Beach. Oh, I didn't realize I could take the ferry to Alki Beach. I was looking at the map and it seemed so far away via public transportation, but that's cool that there's a ferry to Alki Beach from here. Morrissey says they say that if you don't like the weather in Seattle, wait an hour and it'll change. Indeed.
Like,
all right, let's check out the flying fish once again.
his cell phone.
Annette asks, where are you going to have dinner? I don't know. I'm not sure. Stay tuned. Oh, the guy's playing a good song. What song is that? Da, 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 da. Susie said there should be fish tossing in Times Square. I agree. I think Times Square needs a little bit of fish tossing. This guy's playing a good cover of a recent song.
I know, I see it. All right.
Wendy says that guy's here. Like his covers give or take. Drums, I think it's a little bit more less risky. Ryan says, did we go to the gum wall? For the gum wall, you have to see the video of Pike Place Market, the full one that I did last week. And there you get to see in-depth gum wall action. For people who don't know, there's a wall filled with gum. It's on the live video of Pike Place Market from last week. And there's also a short video on TikTok and on Facebook. So Bob has come to visit his Seattle-lite Bobette, but I think he's met a few more Bobettes since coming here. He's quite popular with with the ladies. Cool view here with the cherry blossoms. Right here, look at that. Cafe Umbria is good for coffee in Pioneer Square. Oh, cool, Wendy. Yeah, I tried Cafe Umbria yesterday at DS says, when is your last day in Seattle? DS, stay tuned. There'll be a new city next weekend, that's for sure. Paul says it's a little bit busier than Ballard. Yes, it is, yeah. It's a bit more lively than Ballard right here at the moment. So here we're starting to see right at the heart of downtown. A lot of the hotels are located in this area. That's a tiny cycle lane. The cycle lanes are small here in Seattle compared to New York. I'm kind of shocked because it's just, the city is pretty wide open. There's a lot of space to build bigger cycle lanes, but they build them so small. Wendy says, did you go to the university quad? No, not yet. Not yet. Can you go inside the Target to your right? No, Ron. No, not at the moment. This is a store. Köln. Never heard this brand before. A German brand. Wendy says bike lanes are controversial. Oh no, that's so sad to hear. That's surprising. Seattle has more space than New York for bike lanes, than Manhattan's, to be precise. So I'm shocked that the bike lanes here are not bigger. And I have felt the pain because I have been a fan of renting out the scooters. Oh, they're so lovely, renting out the scooters. There's a few companies. There's Lime and Spin. Those are the two ones I've used thus far. But the thing is, there's not really that enough bike lanes to, you know, technically, legally ride your scooter. You will have to go off course. Okay, so here's 3rd Avenue. So people have asked, what's the situation in Seattle? Seattle mostly has been very quiet, very nice, very safe for the most part, but this is the particular street people have said to avoid. This is where the rapid bus transit system passes through the King Metro system, and there's these bus lanes, bus routes that are named by the letter. But down here, avoid this. We're gonna go to a different avenue. Well, you can see a lot of businesses have closed over here, unfortunately. Just a kid from Thessaloniki. Welcome, nice to see you here. Thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Thessaloniki. So I can imagine this 3rd Avenue used to be very thriving because some of the major stores were here as well. Not so much anymore. Maureen, nice to see you here. Maureen says, how are you doing? I'm doing well. It's another beautiful sunny day in Seattle. Oh, cool. So here's one of what used to be the many, many clocks in Seattle. Seattle used to be known as the city of clocks. And they were all around the city, all different companies, jewelers, department stores. Any type of company that has some type of interest in advertising their business had a clock. And they got filled with them. And by the 1960s, the city unfortunately decided to dismantle many of the clocks around here. There's still a few surviving, so it's no longer really the city of clocks, unfortunately. Hello, Maria from Malta. Ooh, that's so cool that you're tuning in from Malta. That's awesome. And that says, I love Seattle. Oh, it's always sunny in Seattle. Susie says, was that the correct time? Oh, it's about 1 p.m. right now, 1:15 p.m., 1:20. Here are the alleyways of Seattle. Seattle does have alleyways, unlike Manhattan, and the garbage is left in the alleyways, and that's why Seattle is cleaner than New York. Maria says, I would love to visit the U.S. It's a very interesting country. Wow, look at this. What skyscraper is this? This one's interesting. Looks like a gigantic slide. Maria says you should go to Malta. Yes, Malta has always been a place that has intrigued me. Here's the Amazon Go stores where you can just stroll in, pick up whatever you need, and go. You don't need to pay. You don't need to or scan your items. You just go inside and go out. Actually, I haven't tried it yet, but I think you have to be an Amazon Prime member, which luckily I am. So here are the scooter companies that I've used. I do recommend them. They're a really fun way to get around the city. Most of Seattle is pretty safe in terms of its roads, smooth roads. Bike lanes, a few avenues have dedicated bike lanes, which is nice. Just do watch out with the hills in the lower avenues here in Seattle or other neighborhoods like Queen Anne. But yeah, this is a great way. Wendy says it does not employ people. Don't like it personally. Yes, touche. Touche. Now we're starting to see some of the older buildings from the early 1900s. So Seattle really grew a whole lot during the 1900s, becoming one of the primary cities in the West, along with San Francisco. But of course, the Pacific Northwest is a very rich area. Evelyn dice, ¿cómo estás? Estoy muy bien, Evelyn. Lo agradezco tú mirando. A cualquier persona que está viendo en español, estamos ahora en Seattle, en la costa oeste de Estados Unidos. Puede preguntar cualquier cosa. Estamos ahora en la área central y también la área histórica. So we are in the central area of Seattle and we're going to the historic area. Marco says, walk in and run out. Maybe. It's a shop. It's shop and run as fast as possible, says Susie for the Amazon Go store. And Susie says, I used to use Amazon Go before the pandemic. A lot of the New York ones have closed. So here's one of the more popular shops called Monorail Espresso. Whew, and it's feeling cold. I gotta put on my scarf. Bear with me. Hey, Camila. Good afternoon. Nice to see you here. Have we stopped for coffee? No, not yet. I'd rather show you a place where they have like an indoor spot. So stay tuned. Let me know, any Seattleites, if you have any good coffee recommendations here in this area. I'm bundled up because it's starting to feel cold again. So using a scarf. Cindy says the Nordstrom flagship is here. Interesting. Just a kid says, what type of coffee do you prefer? Espresso or cold? It's 68 degrees Fahrenheit in New York City. I'm so jealous. Here I'm wearing a full coat. So jealous. You should have brought your Irish cardigan and hat, says Kay. Might have been necessary to come that cozy. Eugene from the UK. Nice to see you here, Eugene. Thank you so much for tuning in. Interesting art gallery. Look at that. Beautiful. Oh, wow. Hey, Wilmy, nice to see you here. Rosemary, welcome. Alex, nice to see you here. How did a pair of socks get up there? Oh, is this Chief Seattle? So Seattle's named after the very last chieftain of the Native American tribe based in this area. Paul says we should take a peek in the library. Yes! What's the intersection of the library? Let me know. That would be interesting. Very cool library here. I'll see if I can enter while I'm live. If not, then I'll film. But yes, let me know what intersection is the library. It's 54 degrees in the Highlands. Oh no, so jealous. Oh my god, we got some pigeon art. A block south. This way. Okay. Cool architecture here. Oh wow, we gotta check out this building. How far is Canada? Last message, a 3-hour drive to Vancouver. Look at this. Cool Art Deco building right here. And it's just right there though. It's raining nowhere else, just there.
떴어요.
Wow. The name of the building is called the Olympic. Must have been a very grand hotel back in the day. Let's cross. On this site, the University of Washington was established in 1861 through the leadership of Daniel Bagley and Arthur Denny, and the generosity of Charles and Mary Terry, who joined Arthur and Mary in donating the land to the George says, a small earthquake hit San Diego last night. Oh no, I hope everyone's okay in San Diego. Look at this weird building. What's the story behind this building? What? Does this building inspire confidence for an earthquake? He says that you hear about them knocking down an Art Deco building that houses Marxist. That'd be so sad. What is that? Oh, I gotta research this building. Maybe make a TikTok on this. There's the 601 Lexington. That one's on stilts, but this one's on a skinny little column and juts out. I feel you. Let's get closer. Ron says, and you think the City Bank building was bad? The City Court building, yeah. Yeah, I thought the City Court building was bad, but whoa. Carol says, that building always makes me nervous. Yeah, I can imagine. So, Inspired Life says that building is the Rainier Tower, built in 1977 by architect Yamasaki. Ooh, Yamasaki sounds familiar. Is he the same one as the World Trade Center? Cool neon sign here. Fifth. Cool decorations here. I'll show you that soon, but look. There's a whole building right above our heads. Let's touch it, shall we? Oh, we found another clock. This is the Jim Ryan clock. Built in 1989. All right. And let's... Ugh. Nope, doesn't budge. No, does not budge. Oh, it's right next to the slide building. Okay, everyone, I tried my hardest. It doesn't budge. It's stable. Just inspected it. Yep. It's to code. No need to. I couldn't move it. Susie says the last major earthquake in Seattle was 21 years ago. How did this building survive? I think this must have been made with some extremely strong concrete underneath. All right, let me cross. Go, 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 go. Oh, look, we found Mephisto. Wow, look at this theater. Inkspire Life says there's a 121 concrete base. Wow, 121 foot concrete base. Peggy says, I think the builder just had the blueprints upside down. maybe. I love the Orient. It's a little bit of a sensitive term. I don't mean it in a negative way. But here in the early 1900s, a lot of these buildings and restaurants and some of the hotels, just in general throughout the West Coast, took up what was called Orientalism. And it was the American perception of the Far East. Of course, it's not with any historical accuracy, and that really wasn't the point. The point was to show something exotic, and thus you have this type of architecture. And I like it. People nowadays find it very insensitive. I understand why that would be the kind of cool that different parts of the world interpret architecture their own way. Let me know what you think. I kind of miss the architecture that used to adopt the architecture or motifs from another part of the world in order to make it look exotic. I kind of miss that type of style. Of course, it's not about historical accuracy. It's not about proper appreciation per se of the culture. It is cultural appropriation, Alex. Yeah, that's right. It's cultural appropriation. Indeed, it is. But I think it's kind of nice. So it's nice that some of this architecture is preserved. Let me know what you think. Should we embrace cultural appropriation for architecture in the future? Of course, to be offensive, but to kind of appreciate the more stereotypical elements of architecture. I wonder if other parts of the world do that with American colonial architecture. There was a romanticism associated with that kind of architecture. Yeah, it was the old movie palaces as well. Had that type of cultural appropriation architecture. We found Gregor the Crow here. Oh, sorry. Here's a congregational church. Interesting look to it. All right, let's go on 5th. Angie says, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but there's tunnels underneath these buildings so folks can get around when the weather sucks. Cool. Oh, that's awesome to hear. I was not aware of that. Thank you so much, Angie. And it's cool. Look at that, the island just in sight, or the Puget Sound. This area of Seattle is very beautiful. A lot of people have asked me about the underground tour. There's probably no cell phone reception in the underground tour. Couldn't find the email to reach out to them. I'm going to see if I can go myself and maybe shoot snippets of it, so stay tuned. But yeah, underground tour probably can't happen on live video since it goes to basements underneath. Had a terrible fire in 1889. There was actually a lower level of the city, and after that great fire they built above that level. Other reasons being flooding and other things like that. So the older city. The Brutalist style parking lots. Building, look at that. Marcy says the underground tour isn't so worth it. A few people have told me that as well. So let's see if we can go inside the library. I'm gonna come back here and do a short video. So, branch. Beautiful structure, wow. If anyone can find out the architect, do let us know. Seattle. That's a good question. So the original name of Seattle wasn't going to be named after the last chieftain of one of the tribes in this area. No, or nations. They were called nations. No, it was going to be called New York. But I think that name was already taken for Seattle, which I think is a nice name. Yeah, that guy had a cool name. Probably was a cool guy as well. There's a lot of legends around Chief Seattle that are not fully accurate. Well, apparently he was a great man. So, yep, Seattle was almost New York. 2. Let's continue. Okay, I'll show you the lobby. Oh, there's a cafe. Cool. Wow. He says Rem Koolhaas design. Rem Koolhaas, thank you so much. That's the name of the architect. Beautiful. Gorgeous architecture. Check out this way. wish this was open.
You're funny. When you were being silly with the clothes dryer, you were funny. I said fuck. You did?
Okay.
That's ridiculous. Really?
He loves to watch, sometimes through the bedroom window. Other times he could be anywhere, thanks to the web. Oh no. Oh no. Can't read that book. Oh no. Not on live video. Not on this show, at least. Maybe for Twitch. Maybe that would be more appropriate if I do a Twitch only stream. His Perfect Partner by Priscilla Olivieras. Let's read it a little bit. Think you can hit me with the snowball and get away with it, señorita? Yasmin pitched her voice low in her best dastardly villain impression. See, I do. Maria scampered around the wooden swing set in the spacious backyard, her cry trailing off with laughter. Think again. You are so mine. The little minx poked her head around and slid around the slide's edge. She shook her head. No. The pom-pom on top of her pink cap jiggling before she can disappear behind her hiding place again. Adrenaline pumping. Yaz crouched down to scoop up the snowball. A giggle bubbled up in her throat, and she rose, ready to attack. Something smacked against her back, and she stumbled forward. She spun around, shocked to find Tomas standing there in the back door. Take that, he challenged, bending down to grab more snow. A sexy grin spread across his face, and Yaz's pulse skipped. Is this like a public library? Interesting books at the public library. Interesting. I'm in the romance section. I think that's why. Francesco Pacifico, class. Sarah watches them from below. She snorts and turns sharply, 360 degrees in place despite her frustration. Gustavo begins to pity her, the second youngest child, the little girl who only got to experience the joy of being the youngest for a single year, who is jealous of these kisses because she no longer has access to them. There's a rule in this house that parents will only kiss their children's mouths. Oh no, okay, oh no. Oh no. All right, time to let's go to the science section, shall we? No, let's learn about biology. No, not biology. Physics. Katya says this video is going to be taken down. Yep, I think it's quick. We should go to the science section quick before the YouTube demonetization squad comes hunting down. So this is like the Janice, magandang umaga. Magandang umaga to all the... Wow, this library looks even cooler from above. I think someone's trying to wave at me. So interesting. Oh, wow. No, a lot of them are not working. No. Okay. Wow. Oh, reading theater. That was nice. A really cool library to enter. It has an exoskeleton as well, right over here. I do recommend popping in. You don't need to check in or anything. You just stroll in. Marcy mentioned that line up a little bit later. All right, I gotta take a water break. Okay, gotta take a water break. Anonymous who says it's beautiful. Yeah, it's a very beautiful library. One of the more spacious ones I've seen. And how do they stop people from walking out with the books? They had detectors. Well, when I stepped out, right at the entrance. So the books probably have. I haven't gone to the library in ages, but it probably rings if you try to walk out with a book. I can't make comments for 24 hours because I commented under a video where someone, oh no, Sally, that sucks. Sorry about Facebook jail. Yeah, Facebook is a bit harsh sometimes with comments. Sorry that you got banned, but I'm glad you were able to watch on YouTube. Nice public plaza ahead to your right. Right, okay, thank you so much. This way? 4th Avenue? Or should we cross the street first? That like button right now. Let me know if you're on team like. We're wandering around downtown Seattle to see what is up here in Seattle. Angie says I have to get back to work, but enjoy the video. Thank you so much. Sally says, how are you today? Brr, it's still cold in Seattle. It is still cold in Seattle, yeah. Huh. Hulu has offices here. That's interesting. Ronald asks, how do you feel about Elon buying Twitter? It's not the topic of the show. Feel free to ask anything else about travel, history, food, architecture. What is this? The Sanctuary. Anonymous Sue says, do you prefer books to movies? I rarely read. I prefer, when it comes to fiction, I either prefer movies or graphic novels. Nonfiction is what I read in book form. And I've learned, especially researching, that books have more valuable information than many documentaries would. Right there in the we see the tower we were up just 2 days ago, the Smith Tower. That's the cocktail bar right up there and the observation deck. Robert says this was most likely a Scottish Rite Masonic structure. Kind of looks like a Masonic structure, but Carrie says it's the old Methodist church. Wow, we have a lot of skyscrapers here. Beautiful plaza. Alex says, how old is the building? Not sure. Strikes me as early 1900s. Maybe there is a date on it. Let's see if we can get closer. Pretty skyscrapers with the sky, yeah. Yeah, they reflect the sky, which is awesome. Oh, an event space. Thank you so much. Or no more are there mom and pop grocery stores. It has all been replaced with Amazon. Soon, the only thing you'll see. Amazon stores, Amazon movies, Amazon theaters, Amazon homes, Amazon toilet paper, Amazon bathrooms, all Amazon. So this was built, the congregation most likely started in 1853, right over there. This was most likely built in 1908. Well, I think you should take it up with Jeff Bezos. Soon there'll be Amazon pills to heal that. And soon Amazon will own the Amazon. So we'll have the Amazon. Does that count gentrification as this Amazonia nation? It'll just be all Amazon, yeah. It says, have tea at the Panama Hotel. Janice, it's your birthday. We have Janice Takashima. Thank you so much, Janice, for tuning in. It's your birthday. Tax day was postponed again for me. I'm not sure if taxes are postponed because of birthdays. Not sure about that, Janice, but happy birthday. Round of hearts for Janice for her birthday today. Apparently she's skipping tax day. So the high. I want to go down there. Let's go down this way. Let's get a sled and slide down the streets over here in Seattle. That's a fascinating concept. We got Susie says a skateboard. Yep, a skateboard so we can go fast and furious. Wow, another beautiful building here. Parking lot reserved for members and guests only. Let me know, what building is this? Dia says, what's the best part of your trip thus far? Pike Place Market has really been a blast to see. Oh, I didn't know Seattle had a steam system. DS Feels like Buffalo, New York. Yeah. It does have a feeling to Buffalo. Janet says it's the Rainier Club. It's a venerable old social. So much, Janice. I appreciate that. Oh, alleyways. Who wants to explore the alleyways of Seattle? That's it. I'm waving to you from my office as Paul. Oh, cool, Paul. You're here in downtown? Give us a tour of your office. Thank you so much for waving, Paul. Thank you. So, pro tip, if you're visiting Seattle, 3rd Avenue is mostly to be avoided. Hot donuts there, but let's see what else is down this way. Let's go on 2nd Avenue. Will we get a philosophical chat in Seattle? No, the next one will be in early May. First Friday of May. The steam plant is closer to the waterfront, says Janice. Oh, interesting. So Seattle has a steam system. I guess the system is very held in high esteem. Sally says, you've been lucky with the weather. Here in Eastern Washington, it's been rainy and snowy and cold. Yep. Getting that nice Seattle suntan. It's always sunny in Seattle. So pro tip. Very desolate here on downtown Seattle. Lots of homeless, unfortunately, hang out here. And the homeless and or heavy drug. Watch out. I have avoided 3rd Avenue for most part. Do be careful, but he leaves, the weather will go back to normal. Yep, just like what happened in Italy and Greece. I experienced nearly 2 whole months of sunshine, and then when I came back to New York, some of the worst storms happened. Pamela says it is Good Friday. A lot of the businesses are closed. Yeah, I can imagine the offices, yeah. Oh no. Bear with me. Susie says I have power over the weather. Robert says, what city will I be visiting next? Stay tuned. I'm dropping hints as I do these live videos. It'll be a surprise. Carrie says Seattle's not very religious. Yeah, Seattle does not strike me as being a very religious city. Ron says, has Seattle exceeded my expectations? My expectations, I didn't have too much expectations coming here. So, has it exceeded them? It has been a very nice city. It has been nice. Would I really recommend it? I would say if you want to see a different city outside of the eastern coast cities in the U.S., then yes, it might be worth it. Okay, let's go through here. What are the hints for the next city? Stay tuned, Robert. Stay tuned. So here's the Smith Tower. All right, let's go through here. Actually show you this way. April says the visual quality of your phone looks like you're in the video game. Yep. So now we're entering Pioneer Square, which is the oldest part of the city in terms of post-colonization. Just bear with me. Why are people wearing a mask for an outdoor tour? That's so weird. So here is the base where people can go for a lot of the tours. Here there's also the underground tour. And there's a few. He says everyone was crossing the street at the same time. That was a tour group. I just found it very fascinating that they're all using masks for an outdoor tour. So this is Pioneer Square. As I mentioned, this is the oldest part of Seattle. I'm not sure how safe this area is. It has a bad reputation. So bear with me if I cross the street suddenly. It's because I'm dodging shady people. But I hope it's safe enough to walk through. Let's see. So this is Pioneer Square. Let's see if it's safe enough to walk through. Ooh, Italian coffee roasters. Oh, that sounds good right now. Janice says this was the site of the original Skid Row. Right, yeah. It has a bad reputation. But here are some historical plaques. Kurihara says, have I done the monorail? Yeah. We ride the monorail and the tram. I mean, the light rail. So here is, what do you need for the Russian gold? One news of the Klondike Gold Rush hit the nation's newspapers in 1897. About 70,000 stampeders rushed over to Seattle to catch ships to Alaska. They brought their supplies here and supported the city's hotels, saloons, and gambling dens. Seattle boomed. Between July 1897 and March 1898, Seattle's merchants recorded $25 million in sales. $325,000. Wow. So this was one of the shops right in front of us. One of the main shops for a lot of the people stopping over from the Seattle Gold Rush in order to get supplies. Here it says Pioneer selling clothes. Well, that's awesome. Jenna says at the Gold Rush Museum, there's an exhibition of everything a person would need to know about the Klondike Gold Rush. Oh, thank you for letting us know. Oh, look, there's now bespoke tailors here. No. Okay, someone was playing Michael Jackson, so I had to mute. Beautiful wood furnishing on this building. Ananasu says, I love your thirst for knowledge. Indeed, yes. Thank you so much, Ananasu. I'm so glad you enjoy the thirst for knowledge. Morgan says, I need myself a good packing mule. I'm not sure if they sold mules here. I think there was a law against livestock here. But yeah, you can buy a lot of things here, including illegal things. So Seattle was also a center of vice. You had brothels, you had gambling dens, as the marker mentioned, opium dens, all types of vice. No. Had to mute again. Let's continue walking through. Cool seeing this historic area. I like the old neon signs. A lot of old neon signs all around Seattle. And oh, this one must be very old. I wonder how old this sign is. I think by the 1920s, people usually didn't do these stained glass signs anymore. Miss says a lot of hipster people here. Sorry, I had to mute again. More music. This is the oldest saloon. Oh, look at this. Central 1892. Oh, wow. Let me see if I can peek in. Bear with me. It's called the Central. Oh, that's awesome. Hey, excuse me. Doing a live video showing the history of the neighborhood. Can I just quickly peek in?
Oh, sure.
Show? Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Wow, look at that. Wow, that was really cool. So I pointed a photo of Kurt Cobain. So, hey, how's it going? I pointed a photo of Kurt Cobain. So he might have played there at some point. Seems like it. Pat says, ask to see Guy, the owner. That's the name of the guy who owns the bar. Cool. That's awesome. Well, I already showed the bar, but it was really cool. Really cool old school bar. It's a saloon. That's a saloon. So if you saw Western movies, this one might have been built a little bit after the Wild West, but almost the same style of the Wild West. So that was cool to see. Oh. Does anyone give a pho? Did they give a pho over here? They do give a pho. Oh, look at this. Is this pho shop? Good, let me know. I-5 pho. Adam says, can you show us the ferry terminal? It's not much to look at. I wish it was. It's not that much to look at. We're a bit far at the moment. But if I take the ferry one more time, I'll film a little bit. Oh, look, old railroad tracks used to lead all the way to the ports. Cool old sign, another old neon sign. Ron says, how's the diversity in Seattle? Seattle is a pretty diverse city. Not as diverse as New York, nor as a New Jersey as well. But here you see a lot of Asian Americans, Koreans. Bear with me. Thai, Vietnamese, Laotians, and many others. Oh, this used to be a big coffee shop. It closed down. That's so sad. Angie says that we're now walking towards our work building. That's cool, Angie. Bremerton has a nice ferry building, says Tina. Okay, thank you so much, Tina. Bremerton, okay. Is Bremerton worth visiting, or is the ferry ride nice at least? Do let me know. Janice says our mayor's African Japanese American. That's so cool. That's awesome. Wendy says, oh no, that coffee shop is closed. Yeah, Third Culture Coffee seemed cool. Nice building though, as well. Go up the street to the Occidental. What is Occidental, Angie? Do let me know. Am I reading this correct? Does it say donuts and coffee? I think they're referring to this place. I'm famished. It's nice, trust me. Okay, I will. Thank you so much, Angie. It's a park, but it's where homeless linger says. And okay, stay tuned. I need some energy in order to. If I need to dodge anyone, I need to have more energy to dodge. So let me know if you want to join me for some coffee and donuts here in General Purpose. General Popoy's. Interesting name. Okay, so we're gonna try some donuts and coffee here at General Popoy's. Not sure how to pronounce that, Popoy's. Sounds interesting. And then Occidental Square, yeah, that's coming up soon. Stay tuned. Thank you for letting me know that it has gotten a little bit safer, Occidental Square. That's awesome to hear. And I got myself a vanilla donut, so stay tuned. Hasami says, yes, donuts. Andy says, this is so funny. If I were in my office, I would just walk down to meet you. Yeah, oh, that's awesome. Andy, you're in this area. Do you enjoy working in this area? Let me know. And Hasami says, yes, donuts. That's the cool thing. Pacific Northwest does donuts and coffee really well. I assume just the West Coast in general, because I think LA and San Francisco are also known for their good donuts. Are you interested in visiting the Seattle pinball machine? Adam, yes. Thank you for reminding me. If museum is. So yeah, let me know where the pinball machine museum is. Look at this. Beautiful stuffed donut here with some vanilla right inside. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Just, by the way, we do close in about 30 minutes.
Oh, 30 minutes. Okay,
I just
cool.
wanna make sure.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Okay. So as I mentioned, places here in Seattle close fairly early, especially coffee shops. So do have your coffee early if you're used to New York City time or Italy time. All right, let's try this out. This looks good. And good coffee. Oh, look at that. Kate says, "Are we dunking?" Oh, maybe. Let's see if it's dunk worthy. But I gotta try this alone first. Oh man. Oh, and this is bringing back childhood memories because these donuts are very popular in Puerto Rico. The yeast, very kind of fluffy yeast donuts with the crystallized sugar. Very popular in Puerto Rico. A lot of the cafeterias are called cafeterias, which are kind of a Spanish influence. So, wow, that tastes just like that. Very super fluffy, great crystallized sugar, and the cream is really good. So hot. Jason says, "Yum, indeed. Hello, anonymous dude." Hisami saying it looks yummy. Yeah, it does. I love them donuts. Nutella and vanilla cream. All right, I'm gonna have one more bite before I attempt to dunk. Oh, that's so good. Wow, they're so soft. Let's try it on. Let's see if this is dunk worthy. Oh yeah, it's dunk worthy. It combines really well. It gets soggy, but in a good way because the donut is already so soft. It already has crystallized sugar, so it's already sweetening your coffee as you dunk. The cream is so good. Adam asks, "Is that custard?" Yeah, it tastes like a custard style. And Jason says, "Do you get a dozen?" This was the last vanilla one. They have a few more jam and chocolate ones. But yeah, you can get a dozen if you wanted to. But it's a vanilla, it tastes custardy, so I think it's a vanilla custard cream. Wow, that is good. It turns so awesome when you dunk it. That's so cool. First time I really experienced something like this. It almost caramelizes the moment you dunk. Maybe because the coffee is so crazy hot. Oh wow. Delicious. Sally, you say I'm making you hungry again. Hisami says, "I usually love vanilla donuts, but this one's making you hungry." I mean, you usually love jam donuts, but this one's making you hungry. Cool. That's awesome. All right, let me grab a cap, and then we'll be on our way. Where's your garbage? The compost one, I guess? Okay. She was very nice. Unfortunately, they had the restrooms closed. I was about to go to the restroom. The pinball museum is close, so stay tuned. Maybe we'll visit it. There was very popular music playing inside there, Daft Punk to be precise. And if you enjoy these videos and want to support them and want to playing, then you can become a patron, patreon.com/urbanist. And there I can continue showing certain videos and stop by restaurants or cafes or arcades or pinball museums like we might do a little bit later and still not worry too much about music playing. So thank you so much for all the contributors out there. People are nicer in New York than, or people are nicer in Seattle than New York? It's a great question, Merkus. Seattle people are very friendly, very nice. Not quite, it's hard to describe, but there's almost like this quick rapport that happened with New Yorkers that's a little bit more kind of, it's a very New York thing. Like New York is not, I would not say is the warmest city, but there's like this kind of nice, quick rapport, this kind of fun camaraderie that you can quickly have with a New Yorker. I don't see that too much in the one plus of Seattle over New York is that you don't have people who look too threatening. If you're from New York or been significantly in New York, you know what I mean. People in New York, random people walking in the street, have that kind of threatening look. Some of them do have that very threatening look. I might be guilty of that myself. I sometimes walk around with that look. It's something I learned growing up in New York. Here you don't see that. Unless unfortunately with homeless people that might be also mentally ill, yes. But just in general, barely see that. I find that so interesting. So let me take a few more sips of this coffee before I continue walking around. Jeff says, in New York people tell you F you. In Seattle people say F you, please. All right, maybe that's the difference. Let me know. What do you think the difference between Seattleites and New Yorkers are? Wow, very good coffee. Let me see what else people are saying. Seattleites are kind, but the culture is more reserved. Yes. Okay, that's a good way of putting it. Thank you so much, Angie. Reserved. It's a good way of putting it. Seattleites are more reserved than New Yorkers. They're still nice, still friendly, still kind, but more reserved. New Yorkers are more in a hurry. Yeah, Seattleites also have that kind of directness. Seattleites also have that kind of directness, but New York could be a little bit sharper. I would say that. New Yorkers are more honest than the West Coast. In general, New Yorker is probably the sure. Uh-oh. All right, let's continue walking through. London and England overall is a culture of politeness, of understatedness. So I would say the politeness here is not in the highest regard. That doesn't mean that there's a lack of it, or there's a lack of good manners. Not that. But when you go to England, you'll notice this. Politeness is held in very high regard. So almost every interaction, especially initially, is very polite. You don't get that in most places in the U.S. Not, as I mentioned, it's not saying that there's no politeness, there is no good manners. There are good manners. It's just not as focused with politeness as London. All right, let's continue walking through. Jeff says minimal with jaywalkers in Seattle. I noticed people respect here the signs much more than New York. America says, how about Puerto Ricans? Puerto Ricans is much more warmer society and much more as blunt as New Yorkers, but much more warmer and willing to joke around even more than the New Yorker would. Kayla says, they say East Coast people are just so rude. They're blunt. I wouldn't say they're rude, but they're blunt. Indeed they are. Okay, so I think we're already heading the waterfront here, and head over to Occidental Plaza, Occidental Square. Angie says you can use the bathrooms here at 83 King. What is this, the Westland building here? This one? There's 100. Marcy says you can actually get a ticket for jaywalking. What? You can? I mean, obviously, in the U.S., yeah, jaywalking is a ticketable offense, but I wonder if they actually enforce it. Oh, wow. Angie says, no, go back to the water. Ah, I see. Go back to the water. Mm-hmm. Now, let's continue walking through. Thank you, Angie, for the pro tip. There's so many cars. I just want to cross. Carrie says the police may give you a warning. Okay. Someone mentioned about the clock tower. That one down there? Hey, Marcy says, I was stopped for jaywalking when I first moved here in the 1990s. Had no idea whether it's still on the books. Okay, some popular music was playing. So we would be in what would be water 100 plus years ago. The stadiums were also on water. Wow. So we would be here. It's so interesting. Dan says in the Midwest, we're so laid back. In Wisconsin, we sometimes fall asleep even at some of the stop signs. Peggy says, where did the water go? This is landfill. So they filled it up with rubble, debris. A deli. And this is interesting. Look at this, a streetcar. Wow. Cool that trams, oh, not streetcar, tram. Cool that they're here. Jan says salumi is well regarded. That's good to hear. Wendy says it's also a good deli. Susie says it's shocking, it's pink. Yep, they're taking a page from Mexico City, where the taxis. The orca. Recommended by a few urbanists tuning in. So Cafe Umbria, great coffee shop. They have a great quiche at Cafe Umbria too, so do try that out. Pat says the streetcar takes you. Cool. That seems like a nice ride. The Gold Rush Museum is on the street you just crossed. Ah, thank you, yeah. The London Plane. Ooh. How's this place? Bakery. Wow. Namasu says, I feel you were made a good adventurer in any time. Glad you're... Thank you so much, Namasu. London Plane is a nice cafe, says Angie. Oh, that's... Oh, wow. Morsi says, check out the Glassworks studio, Glass House studio here. All right. Susie says, Kay, are you still with us? I know it's late. In Ireland. Indeed, yeah. Mavis. Welcome.
I don't want you to be unhappy. Like, you're already so far from home. Like, I want you to be a place where you can be comfortable, where you can be yourself.
Gorgeous. Water.
Text me whatever
Beer
you
back.
want. Whatever you want. I said I go to bed early. All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Take a look at your schedule. Let us know when we're gonna do our walking tour next week, and then we'll keep going from here. In the meantime, what I'm doing is I'm gonna keep moving forward, just because all the paperwork takes forever. I'm gonna move forward. Out for you. You don't know yet. We're still discussing that, but I have to do the background stuff just in case.
Adam says, I hope you're not packing in your backpack. No. That's one thing that's hard to travel with is glass. This street has a very nice look to it. It does, yeah, especially with it's called Occidental Avenue. The West in Spanish. That's the West in Spanish. The Western world. Ron says, what has been the highlight of your trip? Pike Place Market. The very first live video I did. Jeff says, you're near Chinatown. Ooh. Hisami sent 200 stars. Thank you so much, Hisami. Thank you so much, Kay, for tuning in. Thank you, the Irish and English and European view night on your end. There's some type of promotion for Nicolas Cage's new movie. He plays himself. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Christine sent 200 stars. Thank you so much. Inspire Life says, is there a movie called The Occidental Tourist? No, it's Accidental Tourist. Not The Occidental Tourist. Oh, Merkus says, am I going to Japan next? Once Japan. So here's a huge of Nicolas Cage. So cool. Of all the things I thought I would see in Seattle, big bust of Nicolas Cage. It's cool, yeah. Olga says, I love the art. Jeff says, sorry, that does not look like Nicolas Cage. Yeah, it could be. To get the cage. Why? Olga sent 200 stars. Thank you so much, Olga. This guy, this gal wants a hug, and this guy does not want to hug. That's funny. Inspire Life says, is there Italian restaurants in Seattle? There is one famous one called the Pink Door. I assume there's a few other ones. Right across from us, there's actually a pizza chain called Mod Pizza, where you can build your own pizza. So those sculptures would be very much in line with the type of sculptures you would see in the Pacific Northwest cultures. So keep in mind, when I say the beginning of Seattle, I'm really referring to the beginning of Seattle as a city from Western colonization. There has been people living here for centuries, and full-on nations that built gigantic sculptures similar to these ones, or even much taller ones. And they definitely had towns. I'm not sure if full-on cities, but they definitely had towns throughout this area of the Pacific Northwest. Of course, that went away. And a lot of those structures weren't really that permanent, so you don't see too many remnants of the Pacific Northwest nations anymore, or even just in general in the Pacific Northwest. So let me know, is Mod Pizza any good? Angie says, Mod Pizza is fine, but nothing to write postcards about. Touche. Touche. Uh-oh. Pat says around the corner is a Gold Rush Museum. Yes, indeed. As evidenced by yesterday's broadcast, to stroll into museums in America while I'm doing the live video inside of them. But walking inside of them, very difficult to do in most places in America. Pinball Museum will be different because it's more touristy. It's not really a cultural institution per se. So let me know, where is the Pinball Museum? My life says all I can think about is donuts. Me too. Oh my god, those donuts were so good. So let's make our way to the International District. Who built Seattle? It says right over here. Chinese labor laid the foundations of Seattle and the rest of the American West. You're standing in the heart of Seattle's early Chinatown. The distinctive balcony of the gray building. Oh, that's so cool. Look at that. Was constructed by Chinese masons after the fire of 1889 by entrepreneur Qin Ji He and his Quan Tuck Company. From its early days, Seattle served as a gateway for the labor that influenced the development of the entire American West. Workers landed here to find work with mines, railroads, farms, households in Seattle. Wow. Here's Qin Ji He, who built this building. Cool. That's him in 1904. He originally arrived here in 1873 as a laborer. But in the face of the Chinese Exclusion Act and the 1886 riots, he soon had plenty of business after the fire of 1889. But there was a lot of anti-Asian protests here. 1886, one of the larger ones, happened here. The anti-Chinese mob raided Chinatown and forced Seattle's Chinese residents down Washington Street onto waiting boats. So it was very sad. Unfortunately, a lot of the Chinese residents were ousted from Seattle. Seattle could have been a city with a predominantly Chinese influence, just like Brooklyn has a Jewish/Italian influence, or Boston with its Irish influence. It could have been like that. Of course, there is still influences, but unfortunately, those Chinese residents were sent out to boats to go who knows where. Some of them did manage to stay, but it was a far cry from the original population. And many others went east towards cities like New York and Boston and Chicago and many others. Angie, thank you so much for tuning in. Pinballs at Maynard and King. Don't know where that is. Thank you so much for letting me know the intersection. Jeff, a lot of them also left San Francisco, and a lot of Chinese Americans left San Francisco and Los Angeles as well. Adam says, go straight. Ah, another coffee shop here. Elm Coffee Roasters. Oh, cool. So many coffee shops. That's awesome. Closed at this time. Let's cross. Cross here, okay. Elm is well rated, says Wendy. Ooh, cool. I'm glad. Yeah, there's so many well rated coffee shops here. Here, there's a few galleries which are really cool to visit. I visited them myself a few days ago. Okay, so I will be showing the Pinball Museum in a different short video, or maybe a live video. Stay tuned. Instead, we're going to go to the Chinatown, aka the International District. So let's go for our final stop on this walk, the International District. And if there's a bite to eat, we'll find a bite we'll eat at a place, because Seattle's very renowned for its Chinese American cuisine and Japanese American cuisine and Vietnamese American cuisine. So teriyaki and pho are very famous here. Here's the original train station. Let's go here. King Street Station. I think this is where you get the Amtrak if you want to head over to Portland or Vancouver. And which is a commuter rail. We can catch the commuter rail to Tacoma if we wanted to. Who wants that over to Tacoma, Washington? Here's Union Station, another train station. Just like London, there's 2 stations right next to each other. Carolyn says, go to the Panama Hotel. Significant to the period of Japanese Americans that were interred during the war. I'll see if I pass by it. Yes, thank you. I think you can walk into the station. It seems pretty roped off. Maybe. Oh, these lights take like forever here in Seattle. Eventually we'll be able to cross. And welcome to the International District. So Carolyn says the Panama Hotel is on 5th and the Main Street. Is it Main Street this way? Behind the train station? Let me know. Ron says, I wonder how rush hour traffic looks like here.
Yeah. So
Me too, Ron. Me too.
HR people.
So here we are. Cool. Look at this. And we got Seattle hot dogs. and Seattle Tea Company. Some bubble tea as well. Cool Chinese arch. Lynn says impressive entry. And Thea says if you pass through the arches, you'll maybe Theus, maybe. Irrelevant for a portion of the viewers. And here we have those. So it says, honoring the Filipino Americans in Chinatown's International District. Filipinos greatly contributed to the economic, political, and social vitality of the Chinatown International District. The U.S. purchased gates for Filipino nationals to easily migrate into the U.S. Filipinos came for education, adventure, and employment, often coming directly to the welcoming district as the abbreviation. In 1911, they were first dispatched to work at the Alaska canneries, unionizing the industry in the 1930s and reforming it in the 1980s. Most of the Filipino Alasqueros, Filipino Alaskans, were bachelors. The legacy of the Filipinos in the Chinatown International District from 1911 to 2022 includes businesses, newspapers, lodges, associations, social justice advocacy, health, human services, arts, entertainment, and low-income housing. Whoa, okay, they did quite a lot. Under Uncle Bob Santos's leadership. This is Uncle Bob. International District is considered by many Filipinos as their home away from home. That's so cool. And here associations associated with the Filipinos. That's all. Really cool to see that. So a lot of people don't realize that Filipinos have had an impact in Seattle and other cities like New Orleans as well. There was an entire Filipino village colonization of the European powers, specifically France. So yeah, a lot of Filipinos in the West Coast and certain other areas of the U.S. This is adorable. That's adorable. Oh, Korean desserts. Oh, nice. Oh, this is the famous bubble tea place, Oasis. Oh, and look, we have the Japanese bookstore that's also in New York City. And some hot pot as well. Adam says, I thought Seattle was settled by the Chinese. Seattle was settled by, well, of course there was Native Americans here, but after that it was the English and then Americans. Miss Lob says we have a little Manila. Oh, that's cool to hear. Oh, I love the old style Chinese food places. Look at that. That's cool. It's kind of cool. I like the ambiance. Carol says I should get some taiyaki. Yeah, that's another cool thing. Let me know. I'm trying to find Tai Tung. Tai Tung. Let me know if anyone knows where Tai Tung is, or has any recommendations here in this area. Norwegians and Scandinavians were also early populations. Yeah, Norwegians, Scandinavians, English, then later, of course, Americans in general, Chinese, Japanese, Filipinos. Ooh. Cool neon signs here. I like the name of this place. Can't hot. No, we can't do hot. So it's all bubble iced tea. Ooh, dim sum. Evelyn, sí, dice, ¿no hay muchos latinoamericanos en Seattle? No, yo no me he fijado a ver tanto latinoamericanos aquí. Yo no creo que es tan popular. So I don't think there's that many Latin Americans here. I don't think it's a popular destination. Of course, there's Latin Americans all around the U.S. It's a significant portion of the population now, largest subgroup, minority group. May in 50 years be the majority group. But Seattle, probably not the top Latin American place. So Seattle, yo no creo que es la área con los más latinoamericanos. Here it is. Paul says, Pinball Museum is on your right. On my right? Like right here? Further north, there's more Latinos, says Carol. Oh, okay, thank you so much. Wendy says, go to the Asian store. Oh, cool. I'm glad there's so much things here to do. So is the Pinball Museum right here? Let me know. Is it right here or do I have to walk significant? Let me know. Wing Look Museum is here. Adam says that is the park. Cool. Oh, it's looking a little bit more like city-like here in this area. Cool. Huh, all right. Thank you so much for everyone for. Oh, there it is. Okay. So let's see if we can go into the Pinball Museum. I'm glad it's right in the middle of Chinatown. All right, let's see. Oh, look, Eastern Hotel. Oh my God. Admission is $20. Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Okay, the pinball museum. I might have to do a short video of that. Probably won't be doable live. So, but if you're dressed in proper winter gear, says it's fine. Says Ms. Lob. I am dressed in proper winter gear, but now it's getting pretty hot. So let's check out one of the most iconic restaurants here in Seattle. Let's see if it's open at this time. We all know that Bruce Lee moved here because he married Linda Lee, and he fell in love with this restaurant, Tai Tung, that has been running for more than 75 years. One of the original Chinese food restaurants, Chinese American food restaurants here. And they're famous for selling chop suey. Hopefully there is cell phone reception inside. Bear with me. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
For one, please.
Yeah, give me 1 minute.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. How many chopsticks? One? Oh, three. Okay, all right. Okay, right here, Bob. All right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, just one, yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
First time you're here?
First time, yeah. Traveling from New York City.
Huh?
Traveling from New York City.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Nice day.
It's nice to see, a nice day, yeah. And nice to see a Chinese restaurant lasting for so long.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
in New York, the older ones are no longer around.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
We are the 87 years.
87, wow,
Yeah.
so much. Hey, awesome. Okay, everyone, so welcome to Tai Tung. 87 years old, 1935 is when it started. Well, a little bit less, 77 I think he said. But yes, very long time it's been here. And I'm super excited to show you some classic Chinese American food, which is awesome. Also including Bruce Lee's favorite. And it says, welcome to Tai Tung. Since Grandpa Kwan started Tai Tung on using the freshest ingredients available so that the quality of Chinese food is second to none. Basics never faltered. We are proud in this tradition, and you may be continued of our dedication to quality. Ah, cool.
close house, like place where you can turn left. Our front part.
Thank you very much. It's okay, huh?
Very nice.
So after they all left. How'd it go?
I'm so excited to be here. So I grew up with Chinese American food, as many of you know, from New York City, and it was a common staple to go out for Chinese food, especially on the weekends. And it's cool because this place really feels really old school. It feels like the typical thing you would see in old 60s films and 70s films when they did a lot of films featuring Chinese Americans. Catherine says, Ariel, you look hungry. I am, yeah. So stay tuned. Here we have the tea that is common, served in many Chinese places, both in China and Chinese American. And we're gonna order really old school dish, really old school. Susie says, "Oh no, I always get so hungry when I see you have Chinese food." Oh yeah. Christine says, "Game with Death was a great film." Yeah. Bruce Lee, yeah. Bruce Lee made so many amazing films. I really love Enter the Dragon because that one's the more like James Bond-esque film of his. I think it's even better than most James Bond movies. And some dumplings and pork buns would be great. So we are not at a dim sum place, though they. Not really. So for people who don't know, dim sum is more of a southern Chinese tradition. Of course, I'm by no means an expert in Chinese food, but I've done my research on it. So it's from the Hong Kong region and from the Canton region. A lot of the Chinese food, Chinese American food places here predate dim sum coming into the U.S. So the earliest dim sum restaurant, at least in New York City, was 1920s. Chinese Americans have been here since the 1800s. In New York, they started coming by the 1870s, but a lot of those Chinese were already American for about 20, 30 years. So Chinese have been here since the early 1800s in the West Coast. And there was no dim sum. There was one dish that was sold to the people who were non-Chinese. I'll show you the dish. Stay tuned. Kay says, I don't like James Bond movies. Yeah. I don't like the old ones too much. Jeff says, I always say eat where the Chinese eat. I'm coming here for its historic value. I understand this is a very tourist spot, but I'm coming here because it's a really cool tourist spot. I remember a beautiful, and I think this sense, Jeff, I know you mean well, but I think the sense of like always going to super authentic places. Chinese American food is as iconic, in my opinion, and from my research, as iconic as the American burger, as American pizza, as the hot dog, and as the bagel. It's as iconic. And I think these restaurants do need to survive and thrive, and they do need to be recognized. It's not only about authentic Chinese cuisine that is from recent Chinese immigrants. They do great food, but we need to recognize this cuisine that's been alive for 150 years. Hi, I'm ready to order. Oh, thank you. Catherine says it's a shame seeing them all close down. Yeah, unfortunately. I have the special chop suey with pork, and that's it.
Would you like any steamed rice?
Steamed rice, yes, please. So I end up going for classic chop suey. So let's go back to the mid 1800s when the railroads were being built all along the west. The railroads were expanding. Chinese immigrants did not have so much access to the ingredients that were found in China. The entire vegetation here was very different. The vegetables grown here was very different. And that said, they had to make do with what they can find here. The closest vegetable. So they came over here and they started just mixing and matching a bunch of things. The thing is, the other workers in the railroad industry were interested in the food as well. So African Americans and Irish Americans and Americans that were descended from the English and the Scottish came here and they were like, ooh, what food should we get? And the Chinese started serving chop suey. Ooh, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Napa soup.
Thank you. And they started serving chop suey. The chop suey, the original meaning was the bits and ends. So chop suey was just a kind of the leftovers after the Chinese people would eat their own food first. So the African Americans, Irish Americans, other Americans were eating the leftovers, the bits and ends. And that was the birth of chop suey. Chop suey became a huge deal in the West Coast, and that was really the birth of Chinese American cuisine in the 1860s and 70s. And of course that spread over as unfortunately, a lot of persecution happened in the West Coast of the Chinese American population. And with the Chinese Exclusion Act, a lot of Chinese started moving out east, as opposed to the Irish and the Italians and the Germans that started moving west, or the Scandinavians started moving west. So it was kind of a switch over. And Chinese ended up coming to New York, and by the 1870s, you start having chop suey restaurants as well. So in essence, the first original Chinese dish was just the leftovers. I'm super excited to try it out. I actually haven't had chop suey in ages, so I'm so excited to try this out. So here I was given this soup. I'm not sure what the soup is. Alex says, thankfully it evolved. And Jenna says, I love the leftovers. Indeed. Catherine says, do you have... Jenna says, chop suey so American. It is. Like, literally, this is American. You don't come here for a quote-unquote authentic experience. If you want authentic American experience, come to places like these. This is as American as pizza. So let's try this out. So here's an interesting soup. I haven't encountered this. What is this called? Let me know. So the tea is nice and light. Perfectly warm. Let's try this out. I'm just gonna sip it rather than kind of spoon it. Ooh. Ah, it's the same broth as chicken noodle soup. At least it tastes like that. Oh, that's so good. Oh my. Oh yeah. That was really good. So it used to be turkey broth, but this looks more like chicken broth. Yeah, I think it's chicken noodle soup broth, chicken broth. Yeah. Ooh, it's great with some lettuce. The bits and ends. I like this. I love the decoration as well. Hey, Walk Where I Fly, and we had Sifa tune in earlier. Sorry I didn't say hi. Walk Where I Fly, thank you so much for tuning in. Walk Where I Fly says, did you go to the Starbucks Reserve Roastery? I did. Really awesome. I did a live video there. Very beautiful. Rebecca, thank you so much for tuning in. Rebecca, nice to see you in the chat. A bit silently watching and enjoying. Seattle's a bit reminiscent of Sacramento. Oh, interesting. Susie says, the food you've had in Seattle really suits me. The burger the other day looked incredible. Oh, yeah. Great burger. Ooh, wonderful.
Special chop suey with
Awesome.
pork.
Thank you so much.
Some steamed rice. Do you need chopsticks, hot mustard, hot sauce?
I'll have chopsticks, please. So. All right. Thank you. Okay, here we This is what people ate out in the railroads as they were building it. Mid-1800s. The original Chinese American dish. Before General Tso's, before pork fried rice, was chop suey. And this one was with pork. And some steamed rice as well. Savory, hot mustard. I'm so excited. Oh yeah. Smells good, the rice. Let's try this out. So we got were very vegetables only found in America. Back in the mid-1800s, when Chinese American cuisine started shifting, was back in the, by like the 1930s and 40s, 50s or so, they end up actually setting up farms in Long Island, New York. The Chinese American population in New York City set up farms there and start growing authentically Chinese. Adam says, I forgot to use chopsticks. Oh no, Adam.
I'll be at Sam's.
Good veggies that they have here. Good pork as well. So it's a lot of like strong, heavy veggies. So it's a very heavy dish, very hearty. We got peas, we got, let me know which one, this one is celery. And we have carrots. And we have a lot of things. Eugene asks, is it pulled pork? No, it's pork cutlets, basically, I think. Cut up, yeah, it's not pulled. So it's pieces of pork. And what's the black stuff? I don't know. Might be mushrooms? Let me know. What is this? I don't know. Fiami says I'm horrible with chopsticks. Oh no, Fiami. Japanese never do it. It's against the manner of speaking. What are you talking about? Putting the chopsticks in the rice? Yeah, don't do that in Japan. That means death. Yeah, quite literally. Maybe in Korea, let me know. But yeah, don't put chopsticks in the rice. That means death. You do that if you were in the organized crime world and you were eating a nice meal with the yakuza, put the chopsticks in the fried rice. Oh yeah, they're going to interpret that as a call, as a warning, as a threat. These are oyster ear mushrooms. Thank you so much. It's woodier mushrooms. Thank you so much. Woodier mushrooms. Oh, that's really good. Mushrooms are super hearty, very thick cuts. I like it. They have two different mushrooms here. That's really cool. It was really good. Tastes like portobello, but it might be a different mushroom, of course. I like that this meal just feels like a classic meal that you would have for like lunch. It's just nice. Classic, straightforward. I like it. And great rice as well. Jeff says any water chestnuts. I'm not sure. I don't think so. America says, how's the mandates here? Not much. They must have been lifted, most of the mandates. So no V cards are necessary to go into restaurants. Are these shiitake mushrooms? I don't think so. Kay says any magic mushrooms. Might need to go. Yeah, it's so cool to come here. So, let me know if you have any last remaining questions. This is Tai Tung. I do recommend it. If you want to have a classic, if you're looking a little bit more punch of flavor, probably another dish would be better. Maybe a duck, the Pekin duck, maybe. There might be other dishes. I'm not sure if they have a General Tso's here. Maybe. Those dishes are a little bit more with flavor, or like more like. I would say this one feels like more kind of home style. Where's the roast pork? We doing okay here so far? Yeah, very good. Thank you. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in here from Tai Tung in the International District. This is one of Bruce Lee's favorite places. You could just imagine Bruce Lee sitting here with his wife Linda when Brandon and his daughter were very young, having a good chop suey back in the 1970s, late 60s. Short grain or jasmine? These are short grain rice. Short grain rice, very similar to the rice you eat in the Caribbean as well. And Catherine says, enjoy your meal. Mongolian beef, maybe. Yeah. There's a lot of other dishes that are very kind of very interesting. I need Chinese for dinner, says Hasami. This is really good Chinese quality, like really legit good. It's not super greasy, like in the more fast food places. Not greasy at all. Well, good vegetables, good meat, good rice. Really good place. I'm actually surprised, especially being that was not going to be that good quality, but it's a good quality. So what would you rate my takeaway Chinese restaurant? Says Eugene. I would say this is really good. I do recommend it. It might be a little bit more expensive than your typical Chinese food in the rest of America, but it is good quality. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. I'll be back for 2 more days in this region of the Pacific Northwest before I go off to a different city. Before we dish out all the wonderful history of all these beautiful places, before we get elevated into a new plane of architecture. Stay tuned for our second city coming up soon. I'm Ariel, this is Urbanist, keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Have a great day. Bye-bye. I'm gonna really enjoy this. Bye-bye. And by spirit of Bruce Lee, may you rest in peace.